Well, good morning, everyone. Hello, this is Mr. Lopez again, wishing everyone a happy Monday. I hope everyone had a restful weekend. You had 3 days to rest up. We start a new week today. This week we have a special new added feature to our phase 2 of our online distance learning program. This week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we will be streaming live from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30. And it's a good chance for us to work together as a class again. And I will be talking to you all about more about this when we get up and running this morning. So right now, hopefully, if you're doing this before the live streaming or afterwards, if you have any questions, make sure that you have them ready for me to answer on Wednesday, or send me an email. So we're looking at 14.3. We're going into a new section now. It's number patterns. Okay. So we're looking at the essential question. We're just finding patterns, and this essential question is asking you, how can you use patterns to find rules and solve problems? So we're going to be looking at addition rules and subtraction rules that we're going to make, and we're going to just be looking at the patterns that we have in front of us. And the numbers don't lie. The good thing about numbers is they're the same here as they are in Mars, Jupiter, or Venus. So what you're going to need right now is you're going to need an orange and a green crayon or colored pencil. If you don't have that right now, press pause and go ahead and get those items back. Okay, welcome back. So you should have an orange and green colored pencil or crayon. And let's take a look at what we're trying to achieve today. We're looking at a pattern. And again, it says a pattern is an ordered set of numbers or objects. And here's the key. An ordered set of numbers or objects. The order helps you predict what will come next. And once you see a pattern for something, it's going to help you to predict what will come next. And if we look at reading, a pattern is like when we infer. When you see a pattern of a character having a particular character trait, you can infer what they will do next given a certain situation. So this is how it transfers over to reading and writing. So whenever you have a pattern, it helps you to predict and to infer. And that's the key and the goal for us to understand today. We're going to be using this table right now to look at the first patterns that we're going to be talking about. So go ahead, and when we take a look at this, this is a row. Going across is a row, and going down this way is the column. So we need to make sure we have that right now. So again, across is the row, and down is the column. So it asks you to look across each row and down each column. What patterns do you see? Look across each row. What patterns do you see? Look down each column. What pattern do you see? Write your answer here. Well, what pattern do you see? Well, 1, 2, it's counting. You're just adding 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everywhere you go, 1, 10, 11, 12. You're adding 1. So that's what pattern do you see? It's add 1. And I've already given up on that pen that was ordered. I went ahead and canceled it, so I'm sorry about that. So we're going to go see if I can find a new program that's going to help me do this again, and it'll be a lot easier. So for now, we're just going to bear with it. So I want you to shade the row and column orange for the addend 0. For the addend 0. Here's the addend 0 right here. So shade the row orange. Orange. And the column of the addend 0. Okay. And it asks you to compare the squares. Compare the shaded squares to the yellow and row, and compare the shaded squares to the yellow row and the blue column. What pattern do you see? So you cut it this one and compare it to the blue, this one, and compare it to this one here. So what pattern do you see here? What pattern when you compare it to the yellow and the blue? Yes, that's correct. They're the same. The numbers are the same. The numbers are the same. What happens when you add 0 to a number? So when you add 0 to a number, so you add 1 plus 0, 2 plus 0, 3 plus 0. What happens to the number? Yes, the number stays the same. Okay? The number stays. The sum is the same as the number. So when you add 0 to a number, the sum is the same as the number. Now it asks you to shade the row and column green for the addend 1. So the addend 1, is right here. Shade the row and the column green. Okay, so you should have that one shaded. What's it asking you? What pattern do you see? Yes, very good. Very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes 1. It's you add 1. It's adding 1. You're adding 1, adding 1, adding 1, adding 1. And it's the same here. The row and the column is adding 1. What happens when you add 1 to a number? What happens when you add 1 to a number? So 1 plus 1, the sum is 1 more of the number. So when you start off with this number here, 1, and you add 1, the sum is 1 more. 2, you add 1, here's the sum. The 3, it's 3. It's 1 more than this one here. Okay? So 3, you add 1, the sum is 1 more. So that's the pattern. So the pattern is adding 1 more. It makes the number 1 more. Let's take a look at this one. A rule. A rule can be used to describe a pattern. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to identify rules. Okay? A rule must be true for the whole pattern. So a rule cannot be true just for these two numbers and then not for these two numbers. It has to be true all the way across. Think, what do I do to 1 to get 4? What do I do to 4 to get 7? So what do I do to get to 1 to get 4? Yes, I add 3. What do I do to 4 to get 7? I add 3. So you see in the pattern here, 7 to get 10, I add 3. 10 to 13, and I add 3. So is the rule the same for the whole pattern? Yes. So what is the rule? The rule is add 3. Okay? So that's the rule. The rule is add. That's not a very good word for add. Add. Sorry about that. 3. This is the rule here. We add 3. Okay? So use the rule above to write the next 3 numbers. So we're going to use the rule above to write the next 3 numbers. The next 3 numbers. So 1, what do I do 1 to get 4? I add 3, I add 3, so we left off here, so finish this one off here. 13, I add 3 is what? 16, I add 3, 19, I add 3, 21. So here's we applied this rule to this. Use the rule above to find the missing numbers. So the missing number, 2, I add 3, 5, 5, I add 3, I get what? 8, yes. 8, I add 3, I get 11. 11, I add 3, I get 14. So that's adding 3. And we could also use the rule subtracting 3. So it says use the rule subtract 3 to create a pattern. Write the first 5 numbers in the pattern. So here's, you can start with any number. Okay? You can start with 3, 4, 5, so long as you have enough room to go 5 backwards. So if you start at 1, you can't subtract 3. We'll start getting into negative numbers. So start with the number 10. We start with the number 10. So here's my pattern. 10. I subtract 3. I get 7. 7. I subtract 3. I get 4. 4. I subtract 3. I get 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one I could have started off with 13. 13, I subtract 3 because it says to create it says to write the first 5 numbers. Okay, so I started with 13, subtracted 3, I got 10, subtracted 3, I got 7, subtracted 3, I got 4, subtract 3, I get 1. Okay, so just make sure that when you start with a number here, you have enough to complete what they're asking you here. Okay, of course you can start with 1 because you're subtracting. Okay, very good. Okay, we're looking at the rule. Write the rule here. It says write a rule for the pattern, then write the next 2 numbers. So write the rule. 21, I do what? To get 26. To get 31, what am I doing? Yes, I add, the rule is add 5. Now I need to get the next 2 numbers. 36 plus 5, good. 41 plus 5, good. So this is the rule, add 5. These are the next 2 numbers. Let's do the next one. Write a rule for the pattern, then write the missing number. So let's look at the rule. 38. What do I do to 38 to get 35? 35, what? They subtracted 3, right? So if I subtract 3 here, I get what? 32. If I subtract here, I get 29. So the rule is subtract. Oops. Subtract 3. Use the rule to create a pattern. Write the first 5 numbers in the pattern. So the rule is to add 4. So let's start off with 20. 20. And you can start it off with any number when you're adding. Add 4, 24. Add 4, 28. Add 4, 32. Add 4, 36. You can these are going to vary, okay, depending on what number you started. So long as you follow the rule of adding 4, and that's how we're looking at finding the pattern and then writing the next few numbers. We're going to apply this to solve these problems here. We're going to use this table right here to answer questions 4 through 6. So how much money does Tyrone save each week after week 1? So here's week 1. He starts with 25, and here's the pattern. How much more money does he save? Well, it's 31 cents. So what's the pattern here? Yes, it's plus 6, right? This will make it plus 6. Plus 6 is 37. Plus 6 is 43. Plus 6 here, and I'm going to fill it out here because I know this is my pattern. It's 49. So after how much money does Tyrone save each week after how much money? Does Tyrone save each week after week 1? How much money? Yes, very good. He's adding 6 cents. $0.06. How much money has Tyrone saved by the end of week 5? Well, I already figured this one out. See how I figured this one? 49 cents. If I fill out my pattern, Tyrone wants to buy a book that costs 75 cents. Okay, 75 cents. We know he's only in week 6, so he's got 55. If he continues his pattern of saving, will he have enough saved by week 10? Explain it. So let's finish the pattern. 7 weeks. I add what? 6. It'll be what? 6. Yes, 61. 8. Will be what? Add 6. 67. 9. Add 6. 73. 10. Add 6. 79. So at the end of 10 weeks, will he have enough saved to buy the book? The answer is yes, because the answer is yes, because at the end of week 10 he has 79 cents. And notice what I did. I just continued the pattern. This was all the way to week 10 because that's what they told me here. So again, analyze the question. Okay? Okay, use math language. Diego created the pattern below. Here's a pattern below. Write a rule for the pattern, then write the missing number. So write the rule. So let's look. 42, 43. Let's add 1. 43 to 45, this is add 2. 45 to 48 is add 3. 48 to 52 is what? Add 4. So do you see what the pattern is happening? They're adding one, then they keep adding one more. So the next one would be what? If it went 1, 2, 3, 4, the next one would be what? If we continue the pattern by adding one more, it'd be 5. And what number would this be? Well, if I added 5 to that, that'd be 57. That makes sense? See what the pattern, and look, you see what I did? I just looked at these two numbers. And see, now if these two numbers would have been the same, if this number would have been 44, then the pattern would have continued plus 1. But notice how this pattern, they just kept adding one more. One more. Okay? The next one is create your own pattern by starting with a 2-digit number. Write a rule for the pattern so that a one-digit number is added to find the next number. Write the first. Okay, so you start off with a 2-digit number. So again, these are numbers are going to be different. I'm going to start with. Oops, whoa. I'm going to start with 16. Sorry, 16. Okay. Now, write a rule for a pattern so that a 1-digit number is added. So a 1-digit number can be 2. Add 2. And then I write, that's 1. It asks you to write the first 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my pattern, add 2. So it'd be 18, 20, 22, and 24. So that's what I'm doing here. And again, look, I just looked at each one. 2-digit number. Here's my 2-digit number. Write a rule for a pattern so that 1 digit. This is a 1-digit number. And then these are my first 5 numbers in that pattern. Well, boys and girls, thank you for being so attentive today. And I know this was very easy for you. So now what you're going to do next is you're going to take your daily task assessment. Okay? Take your daily task assessment, do your homework and practice, and get ready to check this tomorrow morning. Okay? This will be ready for you to check tomorrow morning. After you check it tomorrow morning, you have your quiz to do on Think Central. So our pattern for math is the same. We review the lesson together. You do the daily task assessment and homework and practice. Then you check it the next day. Then you take the quiz, and then the cycle begins again. Well, thank you so much for listening. Have a great afternoon, and I can't wait to see you this morning. And I hope to see you all log in. I know it's going to be challenging at first, but once we get all the bugs out, it should be a lot easier. So thank you again, and have a great, great morning.